Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Tonight, we dig into the political firestorm rocking the ruling All Progressives Congress, a party now rattled by whispers of betrayal and public cracks at the very top. What started as hushed speculation about plans to sideline Vice President Kashim Shettima in the 2027 race exploded into chaos at the APC Northeast stakeholders meeting when top party leaders endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's bid, but conspicuously left out Kashim Shettima out of the script. Well, that silence, it sparked a fury, one that led to physical assault, chants and chaos, and an eruption so tense security had to whisk away the national chairman of the party and his Northeast vice, Comrade Mustapha Salihu, as angry loyalists closed in. So, is this just a misstep or a full-blown rebellion brewing within the APC? Joining us tonight is the man at the center of that particular storm. Comrade Mustapha Salihu, the National Vice Chairman of the APC Northeast, is joining the conversation tonight. Comrade, thank you so much for joining us on Daily Politics. Good to see you this evening.
Thank you very much.
Right, let's set the ball in motion with first and foremost your response to that chaotic scenes that we saw from Gombe just a couple of days ago. Have a listen.
His Excellency Muhammad Inua, the Civilian General, and the Chairman of Northeast Congress Forum, His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Azulu, my friend, the Deputy National Chairman, North, Honorable Ali Dalori, the Deputy Chairman South, Honorable Emmanuel Lugu, my boss, the National Secretary, Senator Ajimola Bashir, members of the National Assembly here present, and other party executives here.
National Chairman Northeast was delivering his speech in which crowd insisted he must endorse Kashim Shettima as vice presidential candidate. However, despite commending the party for picking Shettima as vice president, he endorsed President Tinubu alone. The former party's caretaker chairman and governor of Yobe State endorsed Tinubu for second term, while commending his effort in reviving Northeast.
It is gratifying that government has recently taken additional measures to tackle insecurity in the Northeast. We will continue to support, cooperate and work with the federal government and the security agencies for more sustainable peace and security in the Northeast zone. Therefore, in the spirit of natural justice, fair play and national interest, the forum should consider the architect of these policies and programs, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, with the right of first offer and endorse him for the 2027 presidential election to accomplish the reform policies and programs for the benefit of Nigerians.
The national chairman of the party, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, with some governors, had endorsed Tinubu for second term without mentioning Vice Kashim Shettima, which raises many questions of the possibility of dropping the current vice president from APC ticket in 2027. The Borno State Governor Umar Azulum, however, urged Tinubu not to drop Shettima as his running mate.
All right, some of the images there from Gombe this past week, looking at that chaotic scene that pretty much put APC on the front burner yet again. This perceived divide is once again re-echoing tensions about what may or may not happen in 2027. Is the vice president going to be on the same ticket? I suppose that is what we're going to get into the heart of with our guest, who is the man at the center of that development, the National Vice Chairman of the APC Northeast, Comrade Mustapha Salihu. Comrade, good to have you once again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You've already explained to a great extent what happened and why you acted the way you acted. Give me a sense of the feedback so far. How is the APC trying to recover from this, especially from your zone in the Northeast? Because it seemed like a particular portion of the people you lead on that platform are quite unhappy with you. What is the reaction like?
Yeah, actually, you saw my speech, and I want to believe you have the full clip. What happened that day was actually uncalled for and needless. And I want to believe it's not something that happens sporadically. It's something that is premeditated. Because they are still investigating the issue thoroughly. But preliminary investigation and preliminary findings shows that it was premeditated and is orchestrated by very few people, or maybe a single person who is just doing it for self-aggrandizement, not even because he is supporting or he has passion for Kashim Shettima. Because you know, me and you know that Kashim Shettima no endorse that kind of behavior. Neither is the Borno governor. So it's somebody that is a mediocre politician who is insecure, and he feels maybe we are a threat to him, and he feels, okay, these are the things he should do to maintain relevance. So basically, this is what we think happened. It's premeditated, because if you look at the speech full length, there's no, I didn't say anything different from what Maimala said. As the governor of Yobe, I did not see anything different from what His Excellency Governor of Gombe said. And in fact, I was more categorical in praising the Kashim Shettima as indigenous of Northeast, and who we are very proud of. I said it in my speech, and I came down to reaffirm the endorsement and adopt the endorsement done by the National Working Committee in place of NEC and the National Convention in the National APC Summit.
Is it your belief that you were personally targeted?
Definitely. You can see that I have to defend myself. I have to pull my barriga and punch my way out. Even though for the few boys that happens to protect me, and that I have to use my strength to push people out of my way and move out, I could have been lynched. You saw the situation when a DPO was killed by 13-year, 14-year-old. So mob action, you have to study the situation.
You think it could have gone that bad?
You saw chairs flying. So it was premeditated. In fact, after it, I know from various quarters of where this thing was created, they circulated news that I was in the hospital. Only for them to see me the next day on a rally in Hong local government where we endorsed Aswajo again.
And on that particular note, how are you personally? I mean, after that attack?
I'm good. I'm good. They tried to attack me, but I defended myself. And even then and there, when they were trying to do it, I told the governor, I said, tell your people to put off, because I can defend myself. You understand? I'm military trained. At least this is the kind of thing that I'm experienced with.
Right. And what does this say about the party? Because there are some who are watching, these developments unfold, shaking their heads, saying,
yes,
there is no spin. There's no way you can spin this to make it look good.
It's not good. It's not good, because this is not politics of 1979, I said earlier. We have moved from this kind of politics long time ago. Now politics is about popular participation, stakeholder consensus. This is what the politics is about. Lobby. You understand? So I don't see any reason why, if we are anybody that is loyal to his boss, anybody that is loyal to a system, if the topmost person is endorsed, then another section of the crowd will be angry. Because, and see, constitutionally, I even got tired of explaining. Go and look at the constitution of all parties in Nigeria. I don't know abroad. There's no room for running mate while you are running primaries. And the endorsement we did at the National Summit was for the tickets. We are not INEC. We are not the Nigerian populace who determine the election in the general election. So we can only determine the election, the primary election within the party. So that's the one we have power to conduct. And that's the one we can now say, okay, yes, we are taking you as our sole candidate. And when we are taking you as a sole candidate, you, at the end of the process of making you a sole candidate, you will now have to either consult the party or and other stakeholders, or do it yourself and now bring up a running mate. So it's counterproductive for even us as a zone to say, without going maybe as stakeholders to go and consult the president, say, we are here to consult you and also plead with you, urge you that you run with our son. Then maybe the president gives feedback, yes, I'm going to do that. Then we can come back and I'll say, we're endorsing president. So that's humility. But I think it's going to be like rude and arrogant for us to just take and try to like force the president's hand into doing it. Or like the way people are chanting, no Shettima, no Aswaju on the whole. That's like blackmail. And this is not the position of Northeast. It is not.
You heard what Governor Zulum said. You know, just to re-echo that same point about how without Shettima on the ticket, the Northeast cannot be guaranteed for the APC. Do you think that that is something that the APC has to really consider, if at all the president is trying to alter the ticket?
Nobody is talking about altering the ticket, number one. But me, what is within my pay grade here is this. This is not the position of Northeast. The Northeast and the Northeast stakeholders I spoke with in the 5 states are endorsing Asiwaju unconditionally. Unconditionally, with no condition, while showing confidence and support and solidarity with the Vice President.
You said 5 states. Is there another state in the Northeast that is not?
I'm talking about the 5 states that we spoke with.
Right. Okay.
Because yes,
right.
I spoke with that have taken that stand that let's endorse Asiwaju unconditionally. But the governor of Borno actually, you know, he's very frank and he's straightforward. He said that we need to include Kashim on the endorsement. And we explained to him that this is the reason why we cannot include Kashim. And I told him, this is the feelers I got from all stakeholders. Right.
And there are other grumblings that have been making the news, and I'm sure you've heard about it, about the possibility of the president dropping the vice president, that in fact the vice president has been sidelined in the grand scheme of things as far as governance is concerned. But do you think that all of these things are unfounded? And if that is the case, aren't people fair by making all of these connections and saying that this is...
So I want to analyze this thing into 3 phases. Number one, you should know that it's inevitable that rumors like this between vice president and president, between deputy governor and governor, between local government chairman and vice chairman, is always going around. Because there are always go-betweens. There are always conflict profiteers that will now place themselves in both houses and be moving information all over the place. And this is inherent in virtually all administrations in the history. It happens during Atiku and Obasanjo. It happened during Eradua and Goodluck, and what do you call it? Namadi Sambo and Osibanjo Buhari. Buhari and Osibanjo. People will be going around saying a lot of things. In fact, this one is even less. There are even less rancor, less speculations than other ones. So these speculations are normal. People will say these speculations. And with regard to the relationship between the vice president and the president, that's above my pay grade. I will not even know. I have no idea. But all I know is that the president picked vice president before now because of some threats he sees. And these threats he sees, only him that sees those threats. Those qualities, it's only him that saw these qualities. So those qualities are still there. And the president will still see them. This is where I will stop.
And for some people, right, it's important that we provide some sort of context to the conversation. Why some of these speculations or suspicions grounded in history, for instance, that the president when he was governor of Lagos State, right, is fond of swapping deputies. He's never had to repeat a deputy twice. And for some people, that is enough reason to believe that the body language is suggestive that Vice President Kashim Shettima might be sidelined. Do you think that that makes some sort of sense?
Me from the little knowledge I have, I know they have good relationship. I believe they have good relationship and they are working symbiotically, supporting each other. This is what I know. And people making those historical analysis, I think they are unfounded. They are unfounded because there's no those analyses cannot make basis for generalization. You know, there is no cause and effects there. Right. Yeah, we cannot say there's any causality that once because this behavior was before, now it must happen. There's no sufficient and necessary conditions to make this happen. So you cannot establish causality. So because of that, I want to believe people should just disabuse their mind. People should concentrate in harmonizing their ideas and bringing forward productive criticisms for the government to improve the lives of individuals. And also, let's assume, if people are thinking like that, how does the action at the summit help? It's counterproductive. Because it's just putting everybody under in the party, in the party light. Apart from the assault attempted on me, even this national chairman, you can see. If you go to the page of social media, you can see people from some...
He wasn't attacked, was he? We saw him being whisked away.
There was attempts. Right. People were holding insult and throwing bottles of water and what have you. Yeah, there was an attempt. And this is not show of popularity. And as I said earlier, this is just a work of one person. One person in Borno State who proliferates, who has been benefiting from the gains of Togri. And we have moved past this. And because basically the reason why that person planted those people to whatever I say I should be attacked was to further severe relationship between us and the Vice President. Thinking if I'm close to the Vice President, I will be a threat to him.
And what is the Vice President's position on this? I mean,
yes,
have you spoken to him or has he said anything about...
I'm yet to hear from him, but I know, in the last interview I said I'm expecting apologies from some quarters before I declare some people that I suspected to be part of this as enemy combatants. I received calls from some stakeholders from Borno State who I respect with my life, and they asked me, Comrade, be patient, this is the price of leadership. And everybody have analyzed your speech. There's no place that you falter. You did not even endorse anybody. You only affirm and adopt the endorsement done by the National Working Committee at the summit. So maybe it's a communication gap, and if you believe it's premeditated, we are sorry, we'll investigate. So because elders talk to me like this, I'm waiting for their investigation. But I know I have my hunch, but let them investigate.
And you are the leader of the APC in the Northeast, right? What is the party going to do about it? What is the party doing about this seeming Cold War within the APC?
First of all, the National Working Committee has stepped in. You can see they have issued statement condemning the act, and they are still investigating what's going on there. And we are making contact with all our stakeholders. We are getting feelers from them. What do you think? Everybody is telling me, every stakeholder that matters that I spoke with, including people of Borno State, say we agree with you, we are endorsing Aswaju unconditionally. While we appreciate our indigene, the person that is from our zone, we appreciate him, we respect him, but we are not giving Aswaju any condition. What he has given us in the North is enough for us to endorse him unconditionally, and we are doing that. I spoke with cross list of people, and in fact, we are not even there for people to begin to think they are dropping this, they are picking this. We are not even there. We have a lot of things to do. We have a lot of things to improve. You understand? We have a lot of things to improve. The security, we are improving. We are still not there, but we have to get there. Economy, you can see that there are a lot of new policies that we're trying to adapt to. You understand? Education, they are working. Health, these are the places we need to concentrate. People should move their discourse to those things, not to begin to talk about who is replacing what.
Right.
Please.
I mean, as the leader of the APC in the Northeast, right, talk to me about this perceived oversight or targeted disrespect. There was a banner that captured the images of significant political figures. There was the president, there was, pictures of the governors from the northeast.
That is what
the NSA was on there. Your face was there.
That was a mischief. They caught it. I have the banner here. That's why I come with the banner.
Right.
It was a mischief because
you're saying the vice president's
is there.
Image
I have
is
it.
there?
I have it. I want to show you now. Right. Because they placed the president here at the end with big picture. The equal side at the end is the vice president. Then us small pictures under. You understand what I'm saying? I have the picture here, and I'll give it to you if you don't mind. You can display it if you can.
So the image that we're seeing on social media is altered.
Is it not this one?
Right.
This is it. So they just cut this place. So I will forward it to your producer so that he can display it here before the end of this interview.
Right. Please do, because I mean that is
it's just mischief.
That is part of the context, right?
It's just mischief.
And also, I'm sure you've heard about this one, that someone who's been fingered as the reason behind this perceived marginalization of the vice president is the NSA, Malam Nuhu Ribadu.
Why?
Who some have accused of engineering this dissatisfaction within the Northeast stakeholders, where the vice president is seemingly on the outside of the plannings for 2027. I mean,
that I will tell you categorically is not true. This I can tell you categorically is not true, because the vice president is the number 2 citizen of this country. He has unfettered access to the president, unfettered access to resources, unfettered access to anything you can think of in this country. The National Security Advisor is just concerned, is deeply buried in his work. It's somebody that he doesn't have attention span to anything that has nothing to do with his work. It's like this. He doesn't. If you send him any message that he needs to open and read, he will not even open it. If you want him to watch a video, you have to look for him somewhere, whether when he's eating or something, you play it to him to see. Otherwise, you can send 110 videos, he will not open one. He's deeply and so deeply buried in his work. He has no life. He has no personal life. Everything he does is about where he's going, is what is happening in this security, where he's coming from is this. He doesn't have time. So even politics, that's just why even the Adama politics, we have to go and do it. He doesn't have time for that, not to go thinking of how to marginalize somebody that is from his zone. To what effect? I don't see any benefit for him here, because the more the merrier. If he can help us bring one project and vice president will bring one project, we are getting more projects in the Northeast. Rather, he will complement the vice president and strengthen him if he has the time. So, but people will always look for rumbo. So people will also look for story. Some people will just sit down and think of one mischief to bring out. You can see what project or what program that vice president is supposed to be involved in that the NSA stopped. Does he even have the capacity to stop? He doesn't. They are not in the same line of work. He's not an aide to the president, like maybe the chief of staff, or maybe you say you block. No, he has his office, so he works and report to the president. The aides that manage the villa, they are different. Maybe they be the one that can enter into fracas with somebody if they so wish.
Right. So
the NSA can and would never be an obstacle to anybody, not talk of the vice president, because he's not his person.
Yeah,
that's not his person.
Just over 6 days ago, during the commemoration of June 12, Democracy Day, right?
Yeah.
The president, referenced the disturbances as well as the instability in opposition political parties. When what happened in Gombe happened, the CUPP, the Coalition of United Political Parties, said this is political karma, because the president said or alluded to how he loves to see the opposition in disarray. Now it is happening in his own backyard. Talk to me about how big of a deal this chaotic development in Gombe is, and whether it is signposting an even bigger problem than lies ahead.
Let me give you the analogy. You understand? Whenever there is a problem And if you see that problem fester, then it always fester when there's balance of terror. When, for example, two equally strong ideas are clashing, then that's where you have an issue. But what happened that Sunday was an isolated incident, orchestrated by one person who is a nobody, functionally illiterate. He's a nobody. He's a functionally illiterate person who was opportune to just come and join the party politics, who has been maybe a common thug, and he has graduated and was sent to us here in Abuja to come and work with. You understand? It's not as if what happened is not even true representation. You're
saying this is isolated and there's nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about, because this is not even the position of people of Borno State. It's not their position. Because most of these people that you see that are making this scene, you can see the delegates, these are pictures, you can see delegates calmly sitting down in the front.
Well, it was the calm before the storm.
No, they're the people that were snuck in to come and do this. They came from the back.
What are the chances that, Comrade, this will not happen on an even bigger stage, on a national stage, for instance?
It will never happen on a national stage. Because if it will happen on a national stage, you could have seen 1, 2, 3 more stakeholders coming out there to do the fight. Or 1 or 2 states in the Northeast making statement that we are putting condition on endorsement. Did you hear any stakeholder, including stakeholders of Borno State?
Yeah, but what about what Governor Zulum said?
Governor Zulum in his speech, do you have his speech? You played his speech. He was urging the president to pick Kashim. He was urging. Even Governor Zulum did not say, you must. I have his speech. I analyzed those speech before I got here. I've not had anybody in the Northeast that tried to superimpose. And if you see when this fight was going on, Governor Zulum was also physically attacked, because he was right behind me when I was taken to the waiting room of the conference center. He blocked the door from anybody from entering. They were hitting him from the back. You can see that he was not happy. That is not what he wanted to happen. Even though, yes, he wanted the endorsement, but he wanted to be something that is the consensus, is the mind of all of us. He tried to convince us.
Right. There are some who is saying what is good for the goose is good for the gander. If 2 years into the administration, the president is already getting all these unilateral endorsement for continuity. And by the way, there are some people within the APC who think this is all unnecessary. It is almost the tradition of the APC that the president, unless he says he's not going to run, there's a very good chance that he's going to get that ticket anyway. So the APC has made a big deal out of this, thereby causing this problem. What if the answer is to categorically come out for the president or the party leadership to come out and say this is the position of the party when it comes to an endorsement for 2027? Don't you think that this would quiet the noise? Don't you think people deserve to know whether Kashim Shettima is going to be on the ticket?
That is the prerogative of the president, please. Endorsement of president is what we can do as a party, because that's what we have. Name that could non habit. You cannot give what you don't have. We have a ticket, a form that you fill to vie for the opposition of the president, to vie for the position of governor and chairman of local government. That's the executive arm. This is the forms we have. So it's after the process is finished that the stakeholders, in most cases, and the candidate will now decide the vice. And in the case of incumbency, you understand, once you endorse the ticket of the president, it's mutatis mutandis. So unless if there is some things that, as you said, maybe they are brewing, and now it develop insecurities from some quarters, then people will begin to act like this. But even if that's the case, I think this is not the right way to act. The right way to act is to get stakeholder consensus from the zone. Call critical order and sit down. What do we see? These are the rumors we are having, and there's possible problem for you to encounter. What do we do as stakeholders? Then we now form a committee of either elders or party leaders or any kind of legislators or ministers, any kind of group you think that can serve as a lobby group to go and lobby for us to solve the perceived problem if there's any. But in this case, sir, I want to still categorically say that there's no problem between the president and the vice president.
Yeah, but I'm sure you've listened to so many of these developments this year, the past year, regarding the party leadership, for instance. Your counterparts in the North Central have made several demands about the position of the chairmanship going to them. And a subset of that group have also made a demand, say, listen, we don't want the chairmanship position again. We think the vice president, the running mate, should come from the North Central. And we also understand that so many people are trying to position themselves in that particular area. Do you think this is going to be the next hurdle for the APC, for the president to consider, knowing fully well that he won by the slimmest margin in the current democratic dispensation, that he has to pick someone that is definitely going to get him the votes to get over the hump?
So what you said is apt and cogent, but I want to use historical analysis in this case. In the history of this country, there's no time that one region is not trying to get one thing from another region. This is normal. The only thing constant is this kind of conflict. When you see there's no conflict, they were all dead. People in federation, everybody is trying to get something to his people. So I will not fault any region trying to say, if you give me this or you give me that. But we know that as Northeast, we will try as much as possible, without violence, politically, using political wit and expertise to ensure that we retain our vice presidency where it is. We will do our best. We will support that notion. We will work, we will give the president all the reasons. We will work hard to see that we garner vote for the president, that will now encourage him to leave the vice presidency with us. So the matter of other zones looking for it, definitely yes, because just the way we are fighting for our people, they will fight for their people. You understand? But the thing is that we are not going to lay back and say we are leaving it. No, we are going to fight for it, and God willing, we are going to retain it, we will get it. So this is my own submission with regards to that. And with regards the possibility of maybe losing votes. Yes, the situation we went into election is absurd. You know the kind of hurdles we had to. The cash confiscation, because I don't call it cash swap. It was cash confiscation. They asked you to bring your old money, thinking you're going to get new money. No, there was no money in the ATMs. Businesses, a lot of businesses collapsed because of that. And all this they know is an APC policy. So people were angry at APC. In fact, there is nobody that could have won that election apart from Salihu. There's nobody who could have filled it with that situation for us to win that election without Salihu. I'm telling you. Even you just make this analogy. There was no cash. People, businesses are going. Some people are doing POS. That's what they make money with. Some people take 5,000 naira cash to go and buy tomatoes to come and resell. All these things are not done, are gone. There's no cash anywhere. People will sleep at the APC.
You realize that, Comrade, you're attacking another APC government?
No, I'm not. See, this is not an attack. It's an explanation.
It sounds like an attack.
No, it is not. It's a situation that was meant, I want to believe, or was meant to make APC lose. You understand? But the president may be ill-advised because he's not an expert in the cash policy. Somebody is paying somebody to do that, and that person may have an ulterior motive.
Right.
So, but definitely you can see that. So you will not use our numbers in the last election to justify or to project what we are going to get.
Or there's another explanation, Comrade, that the president is not as popular as you would like to believe he is. You consider the person who came second and third and how significant their votes were. That obviously shows that Nigerians had other options that they wanted to go with.
There's always option. There's always option in an election. That's why they say it's an election. If there's no option, then we are now running monarchy. This is democracy. So people will come.
You're saying this time around in 2027, you don't think the margins will be close?
No. They have no chance.
You're predicting a landslide for the
landslide
president.
for Aswaju because
even considering everything with the economy and how things have gotten from time to fire.
You see the problem, eh? There are voters in this country and they are whalers. There are voters, they are whalers. We have a group of people that we call petit bourgeoisie. They are always on the internet making noise. You understand? Then we have the real masses, the real proletariats, who some of these policies are making impact on them. Farmers who are getting implements from various programs we are doing. Market women who are getting loans. Students who are getting student loan. These people, some of them don't have access to a phone with network. They just use this small phone that is not having the data or what have you. That they cannot post stories, they cannot do this. They are the real voters. Most of these people you see online here, they don't even have voters cards. Even if they have voters cards, they don't have the patience to wait in line to vote. So what you see in the social media and all this noise is not a true reflection of what is happening on this. You saw me in Adamawa State. I went round. I went for tour. I went to see my people. People has gone to farm. That place, I did that endorsement for Aswaju for the central zone, was a caliphate. Was under Boko Haram. The tough I was standing. Security-wise, you remember 2022. The Kuje prison was attacked, train was attacked, 2022.
Yeah, but if you have to cherry pick, Comrade, the situation isn't as good as you like us to believe, because just a couple of months ago, the same thing in Borno State, for instance, all 3 senatorial districts have come under heavy attack in the month of January through March this year. I mean, look at what's happening right now in Benue, right? Yes. The president was there.
So I was coming to that.
200 plus.
I was coming to that. It was interesting to know I have a PhD in security studies. This is my specialty. And security is highly situational. In fact, my thesis was on international terrorism and national security. So I studied Nigerian national security in total. Security analysis had to do with what the security was and what the security is now. You understand? And when you are fighting a guerrilla war, many countries have fallen. Many countries have fallen 100% due to this kind of thing. Why is Sudan? They have gone. They are gone. Why is Syria? Why is Afghanistan? They fought to the extent that they have left the country to Taliban. So, you know, somebody, they said a cow in the outside, they say, we don't know the value of his tail until the day he loses it. So who will not understand what the Aswaji government and the New Hope agenda is doing, security-wise, you understand, until we visit other countries that are having security. Or until we are able to effectively consider or compare, let's say from 2015 or 2009, when the thing started, to 2022. When you remember that people were hosting flags, they are taking over place and stay. Now it's hit and run, and this kind of hit and run this thing, you are now grappling between human security and national security, because they will come as ordinary people. You cannot kill everybody. So let me land. That is very important. 2 things here are very important. Number 1 is community resilience. I want to give you an example with Biu. You are from that part of the country, you know. You know Biu was in the high chances of being occupied by Boko Haram. But the community resisted. They came together. They decided that, okay, any of our son that is in this thing will hold him by ourselves and give him to the military. They resisted. They formed various vigilantes. And today, Biu is free of Boko Haram. Yeah, you remember even Jimeta? They tried to infiltrate Jimeta, but the indigents of
But
Jimeta,
as you know, Comrade, Biu is the exception, it's not the rule. Other communities don't necessarily have
so this thing, even if you don't have that kind of mechanism, you have to build community resilience.
Right.
You understand? Number 2, security is the business of everybody. Because we are not dealing with an identified army that created a territory and said, okay, we are here, come and meet us. We are dealing with people that are within. Just terrorists and bandits. They have fathers, they have mothers, they have wives. So everybody have to be involved in giving information, credible intelligence to the community. Otherwise, we'll be faced with human rights issues. Because we'll just come to a village where we suspect there is a terrorist or this thing will attack everybody. It's not good. So the community have to help us.
Right.
The state governors have to build the capacity of the traditional rulers. Small traditional rulers. This is not only federal government. They are giving you money for local government and what have you. Try to build the capacity of the territorial rulers. Let them regain their respects in the eyes of the public. They were able to direct people to do what is right. And any stranger that comes in, they will notify the government. So all these things are there in the book. If you have opportunity to go and read, we have a lot of things, and it's not going to be only government. The state government have to be involved. Federal government is doing its own. Federal government have to do their own too. They are doing. Yobe, I know, and Bruno, Adama are doing. They have to do more, and also the people too have to do, because there's two trinity of war: the government, the military, and the people. And anybody that loses the people loses the war.
All right. Just a final note on the 2027 election. You're saying that 2 years in, right, with everything that is the Nigerian economy right now, the highest inflation we've ever recorded, highest cost of energy, highest cost of living, highest transportation costs that Nigerians have ever had to deal with, unemployment, poverty on the rise, all of these indices, you are saying or predicting that Asiwaju is still going to win with an even bigger margin than what he got in 2023. You're categorical about that.
First of all, I want to disagree with most of these indices you are giving me. That if highest this, highest that, highest this, highest that. I want to assure you that Nigeria is doing a lot better.
Which of the indices do you disagree with? Inflation or cost of living?
Even cost of living. Because it's relative. Because you cannot consider it because something was 5 naira before, now it's 20 naira. The cost of living has skyrocketed. This is just a layman analysis.
Right.
But you now look at what is the value. What value are you getting from it? Now, if you want to consider the cost of living of this country, if you go to UK, how much do you buy a bottle of water? It's roughly 2,000 naira, and that 2,000 naira you have meal for a family.
It sounds like you're comparing apples and oranges.
No, I'm not comparing. I want to arrive.
Because the GDP per capita in the UK is quite different from GDP per capita.
But the GDP
the population in the UK.
But the GDP per capita in this country has improved a little, because the minimum wage is no more 18,000. It's 70,000.
The purchasing power has gone down.
No,
because inflation has
not necessarily
significantly undermined the ability of people to spend more.
But me and you know that this inflation is global. You know that this inflation is global.
Well, most economies have turned things around.
We are doing that.
Right.
We're also doing that. Because Nigeria is not the same with other countries.
Right.
See, let me tell you. There's a time that, if we have time, I'll give you just single analogy for 2 minutes. There's a time Professor Salihu, when I was an undergraduate, came to my school and gave a lecture and make reference to Rosto's stages of economic development. As an undergraduate, I think 300 or 400 level, I raised my hand. I said, I have a question. I said, Prof, sir, in the stages of Rosto's stages of economic development, where is Nigeria? He said, we are in precondition for takeoff stage. I said, no, we are not. Because in some cases, we are in precondition for takeoff. While in some sectors, we are in a state of high mass consumption. For example, the monies we spend on movies, weddings, burials, and what have you, they don't spend those kind of money even in the US. But when you come to another place, maybe technology and what have you again, so we have some cultural inhibitors that do not allow any economic theory to be applied in Nigeria. We have to get our tailor-made economy. So the way we turn our economy around is going to be something peculiar and different from all this global economy. And this is what the Asaju is doing. First of all, me and you would never believe that somebody will come and remove subsidy in the first day. Somebody will come and harmonize the exchange rate window. Nobody will believe. Somebody will come and pass this tax reform bill.
It was bound to happen. The Buhari administration had already signed the Petroleum Industry Act.
Yes, but the subsidy was still there.
It was only there up until June or July of
why was it not removed until June? Why the government could have removed it immediately? They signed the PIB. Yes, because you need courage. You need somebody that understands that the economy. You need somebody that will just damn the consequences.
You're actually giving credit to the man who stopped the removal of fuel subsidy, or at least was part of the voices that called for the maintenance of fuel subsidy back in 2012. He joined the streets.
Yes, I know that time I was part of it.
Right.
And I was part of the occupied
Some
Nigeria.
would have said, they blame people like you, because if we had done the deed in 2012, maybe those past decade.
See,
past decade would have been the transitioning
we can
period.
differentiate between sincere and cynical aspirations. You know, we knew that thing was taken from the poor and giving the rich. So we knew.
So the intention was cynical.
The intention was not novel at all. Was not novel.
But the APC is sincere.
It is. We are very sincere about the removal of subsidy, and you see it. Nobody is taking subsidy anywhere, and we are reinvesting. The state governors are getting 3 times what they are getting. You saw on our national National Executive Committee meeting, as I just said in front of the governors, they are getting much more, so that it will now trickle down to the masses. And with the local government autonomy, once it's fully implemented, a local government chairman will be able to administer his local government, have a farm that will feed his local government, have a lot of things.
On that particular note, the administration has still not yet doubled down on the implementation part, despite the Supreme Court ruling. It's close to a year now since the Supreme Court made that verdict.
Let me tell you the reason.
The administration is still dragging its feet.
Let me tell you the reason.
Nigerians have drawn the connection to say that the president does not want to step on the toes of the governors because he needs their support in 2027.
Let me tell you the reason. You see, social change is sui generis, and it's always ubiquitous. So when you do a radical social change, you understand, it comes with a Janus face. You understand? It's highly ambivalent. It will come with good consequences and bad consequences. And sometimes the bad consequences will overshadow the good consequences. So that is why a big social change, like local government autonomy, needs some things to be put in place before you now fully implement it. And those prerequisites are the things that the government is taking its time to put in place.
Even when the apex court says this is the way it
yes, because you see, let me tell you, sometimes human being in Nigeria, for example, or not mostly in part of the world, we are more normative than rational. If it's rationality, for example, now, if you go to the one junction like here out in Jabi, you will see big chunk of meat and small chunk of meat. But the smaller one is more expensive. They'll tell you, okay, this is cow meat. It's 5 naira and it's small. While this is donkey meat, but it's 2 naira and it's big. You will leave this donkey meat, you buy the cow meat, because you are a normative person. You are not using the rationality. Maybe the donkey meat is even more healthy to your health. But because you are a normative person, you will leave that rationality and take the normative nature of a Nigerian or typical African. We are cultured. So sometimes, even something is legal, you will still do the prerequisite so that you will not come and bring untold hardship on your people.
Okay, let's put a pin on that for now. But on a final note, just before we wrap things up, right? The APC has not done what it's currently doing right now in its political history. We look at the Buhari years from 2015 to 2023. He had, gotten the ticket twice in 2019, in 2014 and 2019. And as an incumbent, his first 2 years, in 2016, 2017, and in 2020, 2021, there was nothing like the endorsement that Asiwaju is getting right now. What informed this need to endorse the president in such a premature manner, as many have categorized it?
Okay, I partly agree with the fact that there's no need. There's no need. There's no feeling of obligation for us to, because it's implied. But I want to believe it was done out of show appreciation. Even God, if he does something to you, he really wants you to appreciate him, then he will do more. I want to believe this. It's not as if, I don't want you to use the word need. You understand? It's not needed. It's not a prerequisite, not a requirement for anything. But I think it's just show of appreciation. The APC people, okay, we appreciate what you are doing. You are making us proud. Okay, for this, to encourage you, we don't have anything to give you, rather than to give you our loyalty. So we are giving you our loyalty.
So this is just a moral booster.
It's a moral booster for him, but not need. It's not as if it's needed or a prerequisite for anything.
All right.
It's not a prerequisite. It's already, his second time is already given. All right. God willing.
Okay. Comrade Mustapha Salihu, thank you so much for joining us on the program tonight. I appreciate you very much for the analysis and for your insight.
Thank you very much.
And of course, that wraps it up for tonight's edition of the program. Thank you so much for joining us on Daily Politics. We'll be back tomorrow live at 8 p.m. exclusive as always on Trust TV. Until next time, I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. From myself and the rest of the team, thank you for your time. We will see you soon.